The afternoon sun streamed through the windows of my modest apartment as I arranged the final touches for my baby shower. At 7 months pregnant, everything felt surreal. In 4 months I'd be holding my daughter. The excitement should have been overwhelming, but instead, I felt that familiar knot in my stomach that always appeared before family gatherings. My sister Victoria had insisted on helping organize the shower, which really meant she'd invited herself and our entire extended family to what I'd planned as a small gathering with close friends. She'd also insisted on hosting it at my place, since you can't afford anywhere nice. "Emma, sweetie, we need to talk," Victoria announced the moment she walked in, her designer heels clicking against my hardwood floors. Behind her trailed our mother, our Aunt Patricia, and 3 cousins I barely spoke to anymore. Each carried expensive purses and wore expressions that screamed intervention. "The decorations look quaint," Mom said, surveying my carefully chosen baby blue and gold streamers. "Very budget-friendly." I forced a smile. "I like simple." Victoria set down a gift bag, clearly expensive, and positioned herself in the center of my living room like she was calling a board meeting. "Emma, we're family. We love you. But we're concerned." "About what?" "About this," she gestured at my stomach. "You're about to become a single mother with no support system and no financial stability. Do you have any idea what babies cost?" The room fell silent. My 3 friends who'd arrived early, Sarah, Maya, and Jessica, shifted uncomfortably on my couch. They knew better than to engage when my family got like this. "I've done my research," I said quietly. "Research?" Aunt Patricia laughed. "Honey, research doesn't pay for diapers. You work at that little nonprofit. What do you make? 30,000 a year." 42, I corrected. 42,000. Victoria threw her hands up dramatically. "Emma, babies cost $300,000 to raise. That's more than you make in 7 years." The cousins nodded sagely, like Victoria had just quoted scripture. "Where's the father?" Mom asked for the 100th time. "Not in the picture." "Because he ran when he found out you were pregnant," Victoria stated. "Smart man. He knew you couldn't handle this." My friend Sarah started to stand. She knew about my situation, about everything, but I caught her eye and shook my head slightly. "Not yet. Victoria," I said calmly, "I appreciate your concern." "Do you though?" He cut me off. "Because you're not listening. You're living in a fantasy. Single motherhood isn't some romantic movie where everything works out. It's poverty. It's struggle. It's watching your child go without because you were too proud to make responsible choices." The room was dead silent now. Even my friends looked uncomfortable. "What responsible choices?" I asked. Victoria exchanged a look with Mom. "We've talked to Dr. Morrison at the clinic. It's not too late to reconsider. You could have a fresh start. Meet someone appropriate. Have children when you can actually afford them." My hand instinctively moved to my stomach. "You want me to terminate my pregnancy at 7 months? "We want you to be realistic," Mom said softly. "We want what's best for you. And what's best for me is giving up my daughter?" "Yes," Victoria said without hesitation. "Emma, you can barely afford rent. How are you going to afford childcare? Diapers cost $60 a week. Formula is $40. And that's before medical bills, clothes, toys, education." "I get it, Victoria. You think I'm broke. You're broke. That's not an opinion, it's a fact. You drive a 12-year-old Honda. You shop at thrift stores. Your furniture is from IKEA." She gestured around my apartment like it was evidence in a criminal trial. "This isn't the life you want for a child." Aunt Patricia nodded. "Your cousin Jennifer spent $15,000 just on her nursery. 15,000. That's half your annual salary. The stroller alone was 800, added cousin Michelle. A good car seat is 300. Don't even get me started on the crib." They were building momentum now, each adding their own financial horror story about child-rearing costs. I let them talk, sitting quietly with my hands folded over my bump. "And what about college?" Victoria continued. "Do you want your daughter working 3 jobs to pay for school like you did? Do you want her wearing second-hand clothes while her classmates have designer everything?" "There's nothing wrong with working for what you want," I said. "There's nothing wrong with being able to afford what your child needs," Victoria shot back. "Emma, I love you. We all love you. But love doesn't pay for pediatrician visits." The doorbell rang, interrupting Victoria's monologue. I started to get up, but Sarah was already moving toward the door. "I'll get it," she said quickly. More guests, I assumed. Probably Victoria's friends who'd want to join the pile-on about my financial inadequacy. But then I heard Sarah's surprised voice. Oh, Dr. Harrison. Please come in." Dr. Michael Harrison stepped into my living room and the entire dynamic shifted. He was tall, distinguished, with silver hair and the kind of presence that commanded immediate respect. He wore a perfectly tailored suit and carried himself like a man accustomed to being the most important person in any room. My family's expressions changed instantly. Victoria smoothed her hair. Mom sat up straighter. The cousins suddenly looked like schoolchildren when the principal walked in. "Miss Thompson," Dr. Harrison smiled warmly at me. "I apologize for interrupting. I know you're hosting a celebration." "Not interrupting at all," I said, genuinely pleased to see him. "Everyone, this is Dr. Michael Harrison." Victoria's eyes lit up. "Are you Emma's obstetrician?" Dr. Harrison chuckled. "No, though I'm honored by the assumption. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Presbyterian Medical Center." The room went completely still. Presbyterian Medical Center was the largest, most prestigious hospital system in the state. Dr. Harrison was essentially medical royalty. "Emma," he continued, pulling out his phone, "I wanted to show you the progress photos of the new maternity wing. The contractors finished the interior yesterday, and I think you're going to be thrilled with how it turned out." He held out his phone, showing me pictures of a stunning, state-of-the-art maternity ward. Private rooms with floor-to-ceiling windows, advanced monitoring equipment, spa-like amenities. "It's beautiful," I said, though I was watching my family's faces out of the corner of my eye. Victoria looked like she'd swallowed her tongue. "The Thompson Family Maternity Center," Dr. Harrison said proudly. "Thanks to your $50 million donation, we're going to provide the finest maternal and infant care on the West Coast. The grand opening is next month." Complete silence. $50 million? Victoria's voice came out as a squeak. Dr. Harrison turned to her with professional courtesy. "Oh, are you family? How wonderful. You must be so proud of Emma. Her donation is the largest single contribution in our hospital's 120-year history." Mom's face had gone completely white. "Donation." "The maternity center was Emma's vision entirely," Dr. Harrison explained. "She came to us 18 months ago with plans for a facility that would provide world-class care regardless of a family's ability to pay. No mother should have to choose between quality care and financial security," she said. "Brilliant woman." Aunt Patricia was gripping the arm of her chair so hard her knuckles were white. Dr. Harrison continued, oblivious to the family drama unfolding around him. "The new wing includes 12 luxury private suites, 2 surgical suites for high-risk deliveries, a level 4 NICU and a comprehensive lactation center. But Emma insisted we also include a community clinic that provides free prenatal care to uninsured mothers." "Free care?" Cousin Michelle managed. "Completely free. Prenatal vitamins, ultrasounds, delivery, postpartum care. Everything. Emma's funding covers it all for the next 20 years. He smiled at me. "She said every child deserves the best possible start in life, regardless of their parents' bank account." Victoria was opening and closing her mouth like a fish. "The truly remarkable thing," Dr. Harrison added, "is that Emma structured the donation through her foundation, so it's just the beginning. The Thompson Foundation for Maternal Health has committed to building similar centers in 12 cities over the next 5 years. We're talking about revolutionizing maternal care nationwide." "Foundation?" Mom whispered. "Oh yes, the Thompson Foundation. Emma established it 3 years ago, I believe. The board includes some incredible people. Dr. Patricia Williams from Johns Hopkins, Senator Morrison, that tech entrepreneur. What's his name? David Chong from Chong Industries." My friend Maya was trying very hard not to smile. She was one of the few people who knew the whole story. Dr. Harrison checked his watch. "I don't want to monopolize too much of your party time, but Emma, there is one more thing. The board approved your request for the helicopter pad on the hospital roof. When your daughter is born, we'll have immediate access to transfer her to Children's Hospital if needed, though I'm sure that won't be necessary." "Helicopter pad?" Victoria's voice cracked completely. "For Emma's daughter," Dr. Harrison explained patiently. "Given her unique circumstances, We want to ensure every possible precaution. When you're worth. He paused, seeming to realize he might be sharing private information. Well, let's just say when you have Emma's resources, certain security measures become necessary. The silence in the room was deafening. Anyway, Dr. Harrison clapped his hands together. I should let you get back to your celebration. Emma, the architects will have the final nursery designs ready next week. I know you wanted to review them personally. Nursery designs? I asked, though I was really asking for my family's benefit. For the VIP maternity suite, of course. We're designing it specifically for your stay. Your assistant mentioned you'd prefer earth tones with natural lighting. The adjoining room for your nanny will have full kitchen facilities. He shook my hand formally. Congratulations again on your pregnancy. The baby is lucky to have such a thoughtful mother. After he left, the room remained silent for a full 30 seconds. Finally, Victoria spoke. Emma, what the hell was that? I settled back into my chair, suddenly feeling much more comfortable. That was Dr. Harrison. I thought I introduced you. The $50 million, Emma. $50 million. Oh, that. I waved my hand dismissively. It seemed like a good cause. A good cause. Aunt Patricia's voice pitched higher. $50 million? Well, the foundation has larger projects. The maternity center was actually one of our smaller initiatives. Mom leaned forward. Emma, where did you get $50 million? I looked at my friends who were all grinning now. This was the moment we'd been waiting for. From my companies, I said simply. Companies? Victoria demanded. What companies? You work at a nonprofit. I own a nonprofit, I corrected. The Thompson Foundation for Maternal Health. It's one of 17 nonprofits under the Thompson Group umbrella. Silence. But your job, Mom started. I don't have a job. I own companies. Sarah finally spoke up. Maybe you should tell them about Thompson Industries. I smiled. Thompson Industries owns 42 companies across 7 industries. We started with medical device manufacturing, then expanded into pharmaceuticals, real estate development, renewable energy, and technology. Victoria was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. The 12-year-old Honda, I continued, is actually a prototype for our new electric vehicle division. We're launching next year. The IKEA furniture was custom designed by our interior design subsidiary. They specialize in sustainable, minimalist aesthetics. This apartment? Mom looked around like she was seeing it for the first time. Is the penthouse of a building I own. The other floors house various Thompson Group offices. It's convenient for meetings. Maya pulled out her phone. Emma, should I show them the Forbes article? Forbes, Cousin Michelle squeaked. Maya held up her phone, showing a Forbes magazine cover with my photo. The headline read, The Invisible Billionaire, How Emma Thompson Built a $4.8 billion Empire While Flying Under the Radar. Victoria grabbed the phone, scrolling frantically through the article. It says here. She read aloud, that you're worth $4.8 billion. That was last quarter, I said. The renewable energy acquisition pushed us over $5 billion last month. Complete silence. Emma, Mom said slowly, why didn't you tell us? I considered the question seriously. Tell you what? That I could afford to have a child. You were so certain I couldn't. I was curious to see how far you'd go. We were trying to help, Victoria protested weakly. By suggesting I terminate my pregnancy at 7 months? Victoria had the grace to look ashamed. Here's what's actually happening, I continued. My daughter will be born in the finest maternity center on the West Coast, which bears her family name. She'll have a team of the best pediatricians in the country. She'll attend the best schools, have every opportunity, and want for nothing. I paused, looking at each family member. But more importantly, she'll be raised to understand that a person's worth isn't measured by their bank account. She'll know that kindness matters more than wealth, that helping others is more valuable than expensive purses, and that family means supporting each other, not tearing each other down. Aunt Patricia cleared her throat. Emma, we didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't ask. You saw my modest car and my simple apartment and assumed I was poor. You never once asked what I did for work or whether I needed help, or how I was feeling about becoming a mother. The room was uncomfortably quiet. For the record, I added, I chose this lifestyle deliberately. I wanted to raise my daughter with normal values, not surrounded by excessive wealth. But that was my choice to make, not yours. Victoria finally found her voice. Emma, I'm sorry. I thought I was being helpful. Were you helpful when you suggested I give up my baby? Or when you said her father was smart to abandon us? Victoria winced. My phone buzzed with a text message. I glanced at it and smiled. Actually, speaking of her father, I said, he'll be here in about 10 minutes. Her father's coming? Mom perked up with interest. David Chong, I said casually. From Chong Industries. Dr. Harrison mentioned him earlier. He's on the foundation board. Sarah grinned. Should I mention that David proposed last month? The room exploded. You're engaged. Victoria shrieked. To David Chong? Mom's eyes were wide. The David Chong who owns half of Silicon Valley? That's the one, I said, admiring my engagement ring. A simple, elegant band that probably cost more than most people's cars. We wanted to wait until after the baby was born to have the wedding, but given today's conversation, maybe we should move it up. I'd hate for you to think I was raising my daughter without a support system. The doorbell rang again. That'll be David, I said, pushing myself up from my chair. He's probably bringing the baby gifts. I walked to the door, leaving my family sitting in stunned silence. David stood in the hallway holding an enormous gift basket and wearing his usual warm smile. He was exactly the kind of man my family would approve of. Successful, handsome, obviously wealthy but not flashy about it. How's my favorite soon-to-be mama? He asked, kissing my cheek. Better now, I said honestly. He looked past me at the crowded living room. Should I ask how the family meeting went? You could say it was enlightening. David laughed. Well, I brought presents for everyone. Hopefully that helps. As we walked back into the living room, my family arranged themselves like they were posing for a portrait. Suddenly everyone was smiling. You must be David, Victoria practically purred. I'm Emma's sister. The famous Victoria, David said diplomatically. Emma's told me so much about you. I wondered if he meant the stories about Victoria's shopping addiction or her habit of borrowing money she never repaid. David, Mom stepped forward. What a surprise to meet you. Emma never mentioned that she was engaged to one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country. David finished with a smile. Emma's always been modest about her accomplishments. It's one of the things I love about her. He handed me the gift basket, which contained what looked like very expensive baby items. From the Chong family, he explained. My mother insisted on the platinum baby spoons. Apparently it's tradition. Platinum baby spoons. Victoria looked like she might faint. Emma, David continued, I have some news about the foundation. The World Health Organization wants to partner with us on the Global Maternal Health Initiative. They're offering a matching grant, $2 billion over 10 years. $2 billion. I repeated. To expand the maternal health centers to developing countries. Your vision of universal access to quality maternal care could actually become reality. My family was listening to this conversation like they were watching a tennis match. There's also news about the wedding venue, David added. The vineyard in Tuscany is available for next month if we want to move up the timeline. My parents could fly everyone out on the company jet. Tuscany, Victoria whispered. David turned to address the room. I hope you'll all be able to join us. Emma's talked about how important family is to her. The irony was not lost on anyone. For the next hour, David charmed my family while I opened baby gifts. The presents from my friends were thoughtful. Books, handmade blankets, framed photos. The gifts from my family, hastily purchased that morning, looked pathetic by comparison. But the real gift was watching my family's attitude transform completely. Suddenly Victoria was asking about my business ventures. Mom wanted to hear about the foundation's work. The cousins were fascinated by my real estate investments. It would have been satisfying if it wasn't so transparent. As the party wound down, David pulled me aside. Are you okay? He asked quietly. You seemed tense when I arrived. They wanted me to terminate the pregnancy, I said simply. David's expression darkened. They what? Said I couldn't afford a child. Suggested I give up the baby and start over when I found someone appropriate. Jesus, Emma. It's fine. They know better now. David was quiet for a moment. Is it fine though? These are the people you want raising our daughter around. It was a fair question. They're still family. Family supports you. Family celebrates your happiness. Family doesn't suggest you give up your child because they think you're poor. He was right, of course. But they were the only family I had. As everyone prepared to leave, Victoria approached me with uncharacteristic humility. Emma, I owe you an apology. You do. I was horrible today. I said things I can't take back. You did. She looked genuinely distressed. How can I make this right? I considered the question. You can start by never again presuming to know what's best for my life. You can stop judging people based on their appearance or possessions. And you can think very carefully about whether you want to be the kind of aunt who tried to convince her sister to give up her baby. Victoria nodded, tears in her eyes. I will. I promise. We'll see. After everyone left, I sat in my quiet apartment with Sarah, Maya, and Jessica. The sun was setting, casting golden light across my simple, beautiful space. That was intense, Maya said. Think they learned anything? Jessica asked. I rubbed my belly, feeling my daughter move. I hope so. She's going to need aunts and grandparents who love her unconditionally. And if they don't? Sarah asked. Then she'll have plenty of other people who do. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Emma, I've been thinking about what you said. Would you be willing to have coffee this week? I want to understand your work with the foundation. Maybe I can help. I showed the text to my friends. Progress? Maya asked. Maybe, I said. We'll see if she means it. 3 months later, when my daughter was born at the Thompson Family Maternity Center, my entire family was in the waiting room. Victoria had spent those months volunteering at the foundation, learning about maternal health issues and actually contributing something meaningful for the first time in years. Mom had taken classes on newborn care. The cousins had organized a proper baby shower, one focused on celebrating rather than criticizing. My daughter, Charlotte Emma Chong, came into the world surrounded by love and acceptance. And more importantly, she was born into a family that had learned the difference between supporting someone and controlling them. The night she was born, as I held her in my arms in the beautiful maternity suite, Victoria sat beside me with tears in her eyes. She's perfect, Victoria whispered. She is. Emma, I want you to know, I would have loved her no matter what. Even if you had been poor, even if you had been struggling, I would have loved her and supported you both. I looked at my sister, seeing something I'd never seen before. Genuine understanding. I know you would have, I said. Eventually. I'm sorry it took seeing your success to respect your choices. Me too. But you got there. Charlotte opened her eyes then, looking around at her new world with curious intelligence. She was going to grow up knowing her worth wasn't measured in dollars. She would understand that love and respect can't be bought. And she would never ever doubt that she was wanted, planned for, and celebrated from the very beginning. As I looked at my daughter, then at my sister, then around at the beautiful maternity center that would help thousands of other mothers and babies, I realized something important. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well, raising your children with love, and giving others the chance to become better people. The money was nice, of course. But the real victory was building a family, chosen and biological, that understood what actually mattered. Charlotte squeezed my finger with surprising strength, and I knew everything was exactly as it should be.